We're back. How is everyone? Have we had a good week? 2 weeks off?
Yes, 2 weeks. Yes.
Good. That's such a word. That's like cookies. Cookies are
Yeah,
good. I have been. Oh, I've been just filled with the joys of success, and with success comes all sorts of icky icing sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, icky icing, and that's life, light and dark. If you only had good things, then you might be overusing substances to think that you're in that space.
Mm.
A lot of icky substances.
I like
That's
Icky icing.
That's good describe. I like it. I've heard that one before.
Yeah.
I'm working on my eloquency.
I bet you are. Well, obviously, with orders from Ashley, we are going to be moving away from StreamYard, so we need to pre-warn the viewers of that. Where do we go from here? We don't know. So until that, Ashley's practically the boss of that.
Yes, it is a work in progress, friends. But I promise you will still see us. We will still be in the space. It's just figuring out the logistical side of everything, and it'll be great. It'll be good.
Yeah, find a way.
Business and money. That's all it's about, isn't it?
Buzz Lightyear to infinity and beyond. It's an adventure. Let's see where it lands.
Yep.
Let's see where it lands. So we ain't got a clue where the guest is. I haven't emailed him to see where the hell he is. Maybe I should do that. But the show goes on. I've sent him the link. Mental health space, the trends within it. So, who do we? Ladies first. Yeah. You talk about icky Nancy. That can actually be part of that, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. When life serves you lemons and all the other other ways that we, say it, when you're going through challenges and obstacles and struggles, and we go through them every day.
Yeah.
Every day. You don't get off that ride. That's part of the adventure of being alive. What's your go-to? What's your choice when it comes to how you're going to resolve that? Mm-hmm. So I know I'm having a lot of positive success with people that are willing to work on their mindset to reframe their situations. So working within the active mind, dealing with the subconscious behaviors that are steering their ship.
Yeah. I'm just going to email our guest, so please continue.
Right, Ashley, when you think of life as a mother and your children, how much of their behaviors do you believe begins between the ages of 0 and 7 that you work many years at rewiring?
Oh, good Lord. I feel like I have not rewired squat diddle. Let's just be honest, because kids are a whole nother ball of wax, I feel like. But I think, too, if my mindset isn't right, then the whole gamut is thrown off. And especially when the kids are in that negative energy or in that mood, then it puts me in that tailspin, even though I know they're whatever. I can't let control me. I can't let myself get sucked into that. Like, I know that, but when you're in the throes of it, all that I feel like goes out the window of, okay, yep, I'm letting your negative energy just consume me, and then I feed into it and whatever. But I like this topic because I talked about this yesterday in a Facebook Live. There was just, like you said, Nancy, that icky icing, right? That you've got these successes that are happening, and then it feels like 15 icky things are like just under attack and just after you to squash the success you are having. And it was pure and utter chaos. And I talked about, what do you do in the midst of that chaos? How do you re-regulate yourself, and how do you get back into that centered, like in touch with what's going on? And I did a little visualization exercise yesterday in my Facebook group because I needed to recenter. It wasn't just walking women through it, but I needed it for me, and I recognized that I needed it. So, yeah.
Self-regulation, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And it's really all about you, isn't it?
Mm.
Who else is in charge of your life? If you're allowing other people to consume you with their icky icing, then you're losing the battle, right? Sometimes for me, what I do is I pivot. I will go and do something different. Energy and motion. I will go and do a load of laundry. I will go and take the garbage out. I will do something physical amidst my day to stop the mind chatter. Meditation is amazing in that process as well. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And those are free.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Were you going to say something, Nick?
No. I heard a saying today about like if you're I can't remember exactly, I want to get it wrong, but if you're pessimistic, you're looking down and you'll trip over your feet. If you're optimistic, you're looking up and you'll bang your head in the ceiling. But if you're realistic, you're looking ahead and you'll go forward. And I quite like that. In that, we don't want to be pessimistic, obviously, but if we're over optimistic, maybe not quite realistic, and we can be disappointed. And we want to be sort of optimistic, but we want to be realistic about life. And I think that sort of resonated with me because I, with myself and what I want to achieve, I think I'm finding I have to constantly adjust things, because obviously if there's constantly challenges, and every time there's a challenge, maybe I have to shift slightly how I approach things or my expectations. And I think that's often, I think that's what we have to do in life to move forward and progress. We have to constantly just adjust, to keep having our goal and our vision, our mission, but the way the journey getting there, we have to constantly tweak the way we get there and our expectations, so that we're not being, so we can keep, I think, that realism, because it's optimism. I think I think optimism is a great idea. Being over optimistic. If you're positive thinking, you can achieve anything. But I think in some ways you've got to have a realism. And the realism is that life it's hard, it's tough in many ways, and it's full of challenges. But having that realism, that awareness, well, then that I think that helps you, because then you can that's
and that's where the difference comes in, doesn't it, between being confident and then being overconfident.
Yeah, that's a similar thing.
Yeah. Well, that's what ego plays.
That's true. That can feed into it too.
Yeah, I often think of the line in Home Alone. You be optimistic, I'll be realistic. My husband and I say that to each other back and forth. I'm more of that optimistic side of, he's like, I'm being realistic.
Yes. It's a line.
It's a fact. And when you said those three things, Nick, I immediately tapped into Spirit's message of Tigger, who is bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, pouncy, full of fun, right? Like, he's so optimistic. He's just like, go, go, right?
Yeah.
And then there's Eeyore.
Yes.
Pessimism at its core. I'll just stay here, right? There's no use. And then there's wonderful Winnie the Pooh in the middle.
Yeah.
And if you study the Tao, the Pooh, so P'(U), so Pooh is the uncarved block. And depending upon which way you want to float down the river of life, right? Because everything flows one way or another. Are you going to flow in the direction of what you want realistically? Right? Like realistically, there's only so much that can be done in a day, and there will be obstacles. There'll be waterfalls. There will be like tornadoes. There will be many things. How are you going to remain in your values? If you value compassion, how are you going to stay compassionate to yourself and others? Right? If you value your marriage, so you say, then what do you both value? Do you value loyalty? Do you value compassion? Do you value peace? If you value peace in your relationship with your spouse, what are you doing? Are you staying peaceful? Because we see it in relationships, like where one spouse or one sibling, because it's like being married, is bullying another. Or they're as soon as one person succeeds, the other person becomes jealous.
Yeah.
So interesting when you look at the characters in your life.
And that's what I want to bring up, because I have to bring awareness, because it is Men's Mental Health Month. So I have to talk about it. All this inner ego, where apparently to most men, women have to stay at home. But I'm like here. I'm like, no. Like Kerry, she goes out non-stop and does her volunteering. I'm the stay-at-home dad. I don't give a shit about that.
Misogyny, big word. I always get it mixed up.
I
Misogyny.
think so, yeah.
Yeah, misogyny. You know, a woman's place is at home. A woman is expected to, the 1950 ones that really gets me is how we're expected to look pretty as soon as our husband comes home.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? The Handmaid's Tale, buddy? Break it.
Coming on to a cooked meal? No, I don't think so.
No, and that's where when you were talking earlier about the team in a relationship, whose responsibility is it to cook the meal? How about equal share and equal distribution as best as we can? I mean, if I'm working, 10, 12-hour days, then my partner will possibly make a meal, potentially pick up a meal. On those nights we have nachos for dinner.
Yeah, I think it can go both ways. I think having the view that men should be the women should be stay at home is obviously clearly outdated. But then saying that men should always be the only breadwinner is clearly outdated as well. I think that's either of those views of how women should be or how men should be. I think it's I'm always shocked by. Yeah, I mean, how some people still hold these regimented views of the role, female male roles in relationships or marriage. I mean, it's in the world. World's moved on, but whether the male relationship is the main breadwinner or the woman, or they're both equal, or I mean, it's really down to the relationships inside that. I just can't believe how sometimes how
They're taking a picture of us.
A video. My friends kind of call me. I'm like on a podcast, so I videoed it so that she would, find me.
Right, okay, fair enough.
We've been playing telephone tag back and forth for 4 days.
I know, because you didn't give me time to do makeup if you wanted me to pause for you.
Well, and you know what? It's an interesting way of being. I remember when I was a young mom and I was trying to get 5 kids to school on time, and we were commuting sometimes 20, 30 minutes out of town. There wasn't time to run back and grab the things that we needed. And my priority was getting my kids to school on time and then going to work or working from home, depending upon what part of my life I was in. So, I mean, that's when I traveled with like lip gloss because I felt better when I put it on. It wasn't about what I looked like to the world. I felt better. And if your self-esteem is low and someone's, you know, you don't even dress up for me, you don't even you don't look good for me when I get home. Well, thanks for like you're knocking someone's confidence even further down. So the trends within mental health space are a big factor in what's going on in the home. Your home, right? That's the biggest relationship, is your home relationship. So important.
Yeah, and I want to bring that up because there's been many days where obviously I understand Kevin's got BPD, and that is a big factor in how I wake up in the mornings, because it could be I don't know. I'm always the last to fall asleep, and it could be like midnight. It could be 1 o'clock in the morning before I actually fall asleep. And when I wake up, I'm always looking and thinking, what sort of people am I going to wake up to? Could it be an angry one? Could it be an emotional one? A clingy one? I don't know. But I just get on with it. And I know Gary's been saying to me many times, do I look good in this particular outfit? And I'm like, Gary, it doesn't matter what you wear, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're wearing just a cardboard box. You're still beautiful. It doesn't matter. And she's always looking for that reassurance. And that's just how it goes.
Oh, aren't we all, though? I mean, I think fundamentally, aren't we all,
Right,
you know, we all need reassurance. I think as human beings, you know, in different ways, but I think
I agree.
we all do.
If I say to you, how do I look in this? I'm asking for your opinion because I'm uncertain. So, oh, blue is a beautiful color on you. Oh my gosh, Adam, it brings out the color of your eyes.
Speaking of Kerry, she's here.
And it is. It's about how we respond to the situations. When we wake up in the morning and we have our family alive,
Yeah.
that's a blessing. They might not all wake up in the morning. So every morning you wake up with your family, knock on wood, be grateful.
So my grandmother used to say compliments cost nothing. And I think, you know, compliments, they cost nothing, but they can make such a difference. And, you know, whether someone asks, how do I look? Or even if they don't, but you see an opportunity for a compliment. If it's a genuine compliment, obviously, then I think, why would you not give someone a compliment about something they've done, they've said, if it's a genuine one? Because you can make someone's day, you can boost their mood, you know, and make them feel more motivated just by using, you know, saying a few words. And why would you not do that, you know? Why wouldn't we do it more? But yeah, compliments cost nothing. I just love that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, because a sarcastic comment like, oh, nice hoodie, Ashley.
Sure.
I'm like, oh.
Oh, you mean this?
Yes, right? Oh, you mean this one? Oh my God.
It took her a while to get around to that.
1776, epic. I love all those stars, right? And when we're in the play space of life, because life is just like a playground in elementary school, and it's full of all sorts of people, and there will be the cheerleaders like, oh my God, Ashley, I'm so happy to see you. And then like, oh, Nikki, I don't know. I'm not good at mean rhymes.
Oh, I'm loving to hear this.
I used to get, when I was in junior high, oh my God, there was this one fellow, his name was John. There were two Johns, but the mean John, he would say things like fatty 2x4 couldn't fit through the kitchen door, right? So I thought I was fat. I didn't realize that was a boy's way of paying attention to me. And so it really affected me when I went from size 14 in adolescent clothing to 14X. I thought X meant fat. Extra large, right? I did not know. I was so easily conditioned by the voices that I spent so much time with. Yeah. Yeah. I think the trend within the mental health space is much more conversation, which is beautiful. You know, more meditation, less medication. at times when available. And it's not either or. Sometimes it's keeping both in balance, right?
Yeah.
Balance, yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like you say, often it's not as simple as an either or with these things, but yeah, balance is a key thing, isn't it? You know, whenever solution we find to things, I think solutions to problems or challenges are rarely one big simple thing, and that's it. It's often a mixture of different things, but it's finding that balance, isn't it, between what works. You know, it can often be a few different things. You know, it could be like I said, but sometimes medication needed, meditation, talking to friends. You know, all these different things, but it's finding balance between what works.
Yeah, and that comes self-care, doesn't it, Ashley?
It does.
You're not getting enough of that, are you?
No, it depends.
I'm joking.
I will say sometimes it really depends on the week. But I make sure to do something that's small every single day. Because again, I think it boils down to what are we letting society put in our head as to what it looks like of, okay, this is what the perfect home should look like. This is what perfect parenting looks like. This is what perfect self-care looks like. Like we're in this constant mode of comparison to the next person. So what is perfect? Because in my mind, I only know one person that was ever perfect, and that is Jesus without sin. But when we look at society and the world, it makes you think that, oh, if your home doesn't look like this, well, whatever. Like it needs to have this clear-cut order. Everything has its spot. Yeah, that's ideal. Yeah, that's great. But let's look at the reality of what life truly looks like. So I think even for me, I'm not going to air out all of my dirty laundry, but I'm going to be relatable, especially to moms and to women when it comes to that mental space. Parenting is hard. Being a wife is hard when you're combining different personalities. You each have your own baggage that you bring. And when one isn't healed or you're both not healed and you're navigating the waters of life, it's not easy. How do you, like Nancy said, how do you come together? How do you find that balance? And how do you find that harmony to make it all flow and to work as that teammate together? Even with your kids, how do you work as a team to get to that next step, to get to that next goal as a family unit? I mean, if anybody says that parenting is easy and marriage is easy, they're cracked out of their mind. I'm telling you.
I agree. Completely cracked out of their mind. Like Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall, cracked. Like totally, like just oblivious to the situations of life. I mean, you've got young children. I've got adult children that I am now in many collaborations with. Many collaborations. And how is it like managing having one of my sons work on upcoming social media when he has no idea how to do this, and me encouraging him while giving him a realistic amount of work to do, right? You want to become part of the Exponential Joy team? Okay. Remember how this worked when we were teenagers and you were less than pleasant with me, right? So how can we do this together so that I remember I am no longer their mother in that role. I'm a collaborator. I need to respect them as much as they respect me. I remember the first time that my adult son hung up the phone on me. Oh my God, Jilt, how dare you? And I called them back and I said that. They hung up again. I'm like, oh, it's ripping my hair out. And I'm like, wow. This is you, Nance. The man that you were speaking to hung up on you, right?
My teenage son has hung up on me before.
What did you do?
He calls me asking a question and I give him the answer. He didn't like the answer and he hung up the phone. I was like, love you,
Did
dude.
you call him straight back? Did you call him straight back?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm not going to waste my time calling you back, quite honestly, because you're mad and I just don't care. You didn't like the answer. So that's on you, not me.
Well, and most of it is on us.
Yeah.
Right? It really, truly is. And when someone starts spreading too much shitty ice cream or icing on our life, it's time to step back and realize perhaps it's a question of what will I no longer tolerate?
Yeah.
When will I have had enough? I said no.
Yeah.
Right? Clarity, lots and lots of clarity. I think that's a huge trend in mental health, is understanding what it is that you want and clearly articulating that to a person and then realizing that changes daily.
It's interesting. I've got an 8-year-old son. Well, it's nine now, and he can't express. It's very good. Obviously, he can communicate clearly, but he can't express sometimes extreme emotion. So when he stays with me, when it's time to go, the day he goes or the day before he goes, his mood changes, and he just and it's because he's overwhelmed with. He doesn't want to, but the transition of going back, leaving me and going back to my ex-partner. He finds it very hard to process that, and he doesn't, and he can't express it to me. So, but I see his behavior changing, and he plays up, now I sort of know. Well, I know that's because he's getting anxious, and but he just can't. Yeah, he doesn't. He's not able to sort of communicate and talk about it. It just overwhelms him with a.
Yeah. So how was he, Nick, when before obviously you two came to mind? How was it?
Yeah. So obviously we didn't. No. Yeah. No. It's interesting because we obviously he hadn't met you, and we obviously I had met you in person, but no, he was. I think because I had. He knew about the show, and he'd sort of seen you on the show, and he's quite adventurous spirited, and obviously he's with me, so he was actually, yeah. I think because I'd said, you're, even though I've not met you, you're good friends, so I positioned it in that way. Yeah, it was actually fine. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just watching my cat having a wash here.
Conscious parenting, unconscious parenting, conscious relationships, unconscious relationships. If I say to a person, that's just the way I am, that's an indicator that I am unwilling to change. And change is a positive, depending upon the expectation, right?
Sure.
So there isn't a straight answer for everything. Are we building each other up or building each other down, or breaking each other down? That's a big one. Are you building up the people in your life, or are you breaking them down? Are the people in your life building you up or breaking you down? If people in your life are breaking you down, whoa, time out. Really, really think about that, because if the people in your life are breaking you down, it's time to step away and reach out to someone else for support so that you can get some insight, some clarity, some guidance, some action. It's not okay to be in a relationship where someone is not treating you in a respectful way, nor is it okay for you to be in a relationship where you're not treating someone respectfully, right? Why did you come together in the first place? What was your intent? What was your purpose? Yeah.
I suppose it's one of the. I mean, we've touched on this before in other shows, isn't it? But I suppose that's one of the hardest things, isn't it? Sometimes to step back from family or friends, who we know aren't good for us. At the time, the relationship isn't healthy. But actually, if it's family or close friends, that's one of the hardest things. Even though it's the right thing to step back and have that space and
It's huge. It's huge, Nick. I was interviewed by a news reporter, a newspaper reporter, and there was an article written. And one of the questions that she asked me was why I didn't leave the abusive relationship. And for me, a lot of it was the emotional mindset that I had because of the years and years and years of hearing those those terrible things said about me that I began to believe. You're fat, you're useless, no one ever put up with your shit. Those were the top 3 that were on a regular basis, right? And I mean, that really, boy, I had to work on that before I came back into the dating world. I'll tell you that much. Otherwise, I was going to attract someone that thought I was all of those things because that's what I was putting out there.
Yeah. I know how it feels to be called fat, ginger, all that, and it was really hard, and I took it really personal, and that's what made me attempt suicide in the first place, and drink as well. But now, when people are trying to bully me, like just the other day, I was live on TikTok, and normally I get about 6 to 10 views live, but there was like 115 there, and half of them were just being negative, saying, "Oh, you're dividing men and women and stuff like that," because I was talking about men's mental health, and so I was being called all names under the sun. I'm the problem because of women having mental health and all that, and I just laughed it off. I just laughed it off because of how stupid it sounds.
I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because the more we open ourselves up to the world to share our message or whatever it is, the more vulnerable we are to the more open we are to obviously people supporting us, but at the same time, the more open we are vulnerable to people who give negative comments and
this is for you gentlemen. I'm not doing this very well. There we go. That's better. So I heard this man speak. His name is George LaRocque.
Do not. I'll dip us all out of camera and I'll make it solely on you, Nance.
George LaRocque.
Yeah,
okay. Solely on me? Oh, cool. That's neat. Good job. That's impressive. So George LaRocque, the story of the NHL's unlikeliest tough guy. I went and I listened to him speak. And oh my gosh, to hear a man speak so eloquently about mental health was brilliant. It was such a blessing in my life. So I bought his memoir. And then I gave him a copy of my memoir so that he could understand my story and the story of my experience, because our experiences were very different. But this wonderful man played with the Edmonton Oilers. And he was like, everyone loved him because he was a tough guy. He went in there and he really owned his role of being, the bruiser. The reason that he became a bruiser, you'll find out about it in the first, second, third chapters. His father was terribly mean to him, just terribly mean to him. And he is one of the kindest big guys. I mean, we're talking, he's like he's 6 and oh my God, how tall are you? He told me, I think it was 6'4". Wonderfully well-spoken, kind, known for all of the things that he does to help people, to help children. So he channeled all of that debilitating self-talk, that record that kept on playing in his life, in his mind, by volunteering to visit children in hospitals. Didn't have to. That was his choice. So once again, trends within the mental health space. more people talking about the challenges that they're having and sharing it. I mean, I so love it. It's one of many books that I'm reading. I'm a booker. I've got this one's by my bed, so that's why I put the pause on so I could go and grab it. So yeah, George Locke is on my bedside table. I have to turn him over sometimes. It's inappropriate to have him there. Thanks, Ash.
Yeah. This is what I'm reading
I'll
at the
check it
minute.
out. I'll check the book out.
This is what I'm reading at the minute. It's called "Please Don't Leave Me." Oh no, I hate you. Please don't leave me. I'll turn my green screen off.
Who's that? How did you hear about that one, Adam? Someone recommend it, or just see it?
Well, it was actually Kerry that recommended it, because obviously this is all about BPD.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's all about BPD. So I've just started. Obviously, it's the 3rd edition, but I've just thought, you know what? Give it a read.
Good read. Interest helpful. Interesting.
Well, I've not long got into it, but it gets you within the first couple of pages.
Sign of a good book. Sign of a good book if it can hook you in.
And there's another trend in the mental health space. People are educating themselves beyond social media, TikTok, into an actual book. Oh my God, how rare. I just love the way books smell. There's something about holding it in your hands. There was a large part of my life where this was my safety, was a book. And I could always escape the challenges in my life and reprogram my mind with positive information. I mean, Wayne Dyer, gosh, for years, Wayne Dyer. For years, Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza. I mean, I wow. And now some of them I reread because I'm working with someone who's that's the level that they're at. And sometimes it's a brand new book for me too. It's beautiful. We don't have to always read a book from cover to cover. Sometimes it's one chapter that will give us the insight that we need.
Yeah, I think it's with self-publishing, and it's easier for people to share their story by writing, and I think that's such a good thing, because before, we would have sort of books by experts, or big names, but now you can get the stories from less known people and have those authentic stories, and I think that's that's what makes it so much more powerful.
Well, and I mean, Adam, cheers on you. Seek first to understand, and then be understood.
Yeah, and that's why, because obviously not everybody is going to know everything about autism, for example. Yes, we've got kids with autism. They're a pain in the ass 90% of the time. But obviously, hi, Kevin.
Hi.
But obviously, I'm doing an autism course as we speak.
Good.
Because I'm learning more and more about it, and we learn things all the time, every time. Yeah. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you. I think I got time zones mixed up. I thought it was 2:00 my time. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Blame Ashley.
All right. I'll blame you, Ashley.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Yes.
Whew, got me off the hook. Thank you for that.
So, how are you?
I'm doing well. I was actually in a meeting with a mental health organization here in the States that does some pretty exciting work with lived experience, people who have dealt with, as we all know, the mental health challenges, and then taking that into the workplace, which is one of my major goals with the work that I'm doing.
Absolutely. So give us a little bit of insight into you, who you are, and how mental health has impacted you over the years.
Sure. Well, mental health has really contributed to my sense of humor, so that's a positive. My name's Kevin. As a kid, I really struggled with really strange, racing, scary thoughts. I thought I was the only person in the world who had these thoughts. An easy example I use is when I was 5, I thought I was going to stick my head in a tornado siren, and then the tornado siren was going to go off and I was going to lose my hearing. Now, I was scared to death of this. Did I want to do it? No. I was scared of it, and I couldn't walk up to my mom and be like, Mom, I'm afraid I'm going to stick my head in a tornado siren. The reason I say that is sometime later, I realized I was not the only one who had these racing thoughts, these terrible, irrational fears. And there was a seminal day in my life, and because I felt less alone. Fast forward a number of years, I did a one-man show kind of about my lifelong experience with anxiety. And I've turned it into, from that show came a podcast I host called Sad Times, in which each week we have a guest on who tells difficult stories from their life. Generally, we like to say that difficult stories are universal, but they're not universally told. And so on Sad Times, the goal is not to judge the problem. It's not to fix the problem, nor is it to diagnose the problem. It's simply to allow the story to be told so that whomever may be listening, wherever they are, hears something and said, you know what? I thought I was the only one who felt that way. Because mental health isolates us. It isolates us greatly. It's one of the most pernicious things about it. And if we help people who are struggling know that they're maybe not as alone as they think they are, I think we go a long way in addressing this. And on the show, when appropriate, I try to use levity. I do try, as I made the joke about humor, I think humor is increasingly important. And so I've taken I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I've taken my struggles, and I try to tell my story and help other people tell their story so that we can all build what I call the collective empathy muscle.
Any questions, you three?
No, I think the humour point's good. I think, we have we have to, if we can't we have to. It's a good way of coping with life, isn't it? If we can, or better way to cope if we can use humour to get through the tough and challenging situations. Sometimes sometimes life is almost absurd, and when things happen, it's like so ridiculous. You think how's this happening? So to be able to laugh at ourselves sometimes as well, and
absolutely.
Yeah, so I think definitely I agree with you that it's not always easy, but if you can find humor in situations, and then there's no better coping mechanism if you can. So nice, I like that idea.
Yeah, and Nick, my favorite movie of all time is Airplane, and one of the things I love about Airplane is I watched that movie, and as you said, you look around the real world and absurd things are happening. I watched that movie, and a lot of that makes more sense than real life to me. Like that is, it just is perfect. So I hear exactly what you're saying, for sure.
Ladies?
Hi.
Hi.
Beautiful. I love how you took something that was traumatizing you for such a long time and came to a full circle reframe on that. Very, very, very powerful, right?
Yeah.
We each have different individual monsters that can run the show. And for you to realize that, as soon as you said Airplane, I chuckled because I snakes on a plane, right? Snakes on a plane. That's what it can feel like, though, right?
Yeah.
It can feel like that. It really, truly can. Gross movie, by the way. Just it's like not.
Yeah.
I don't
I hate
recommend
snakes.
that, right?
Yeah.
Some people choose those movies. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I was just on, like I said, on this other call, and I was talking to a gentleman who has struggled with schizophrenia, and he's done something, and I do apologize. I don't, know everybody's backstory on this call, but I imagine you guys are doing the same. He had some very difficult times in his life, and not only did he work to heal from them, he's now using that opportunity and that experience to help other people who are going through it. And I think, you see that more and more in the mental health space, and it's inspiring, and it's incredibly important and helpful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ashley, you're quiet. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. You always say that when I have nothing to say. Like, I just need to talk all the time. I can listen.
This thing's good.
Of course.
Fantastic. I like that you said you're allowing the story to be told differently on your podcast, because we all have, like you said, those similar experiences, but yet they're different for each person. The interpretation is different and the perspective is different. I think just having that authenticity that people can show up as who they truly are really helps get that story out there and that relatability. And I think in today's society, all of us want that connection with somebody and that relatability. And when people have a platform that they can share that with and not be judged for it,
right,
that makes a huge difference in using our story for our advantage versus being in that victimhood of that poor me, versus how do I use my story to help others, like you said. So that's great that they have that ability to work with you on that.
Yeah, and speaking of poor me, I live in the town of Poor Me. I have like 3 condos there. I mean, I'm there a lot, and I try not to visit as much as I do, but I spend a lot of time there, unfortunately. And, you know, some of the people who come, actually, to your point, some of the people who come on Sad Times, I mean, they all have difficult stories, but some of them are profoundly personal, vulnerable, very difficult experiences. So I have a very clear process for that. Where if somebody does agree to come on, I have I call it a prep call, and I let them tell me the story the first time, and I kind of shut up. I did a little bit of this with Adam, actually. I kind of shut up, and then I take notes because I used to be a project manager, so I can like listen to people talk and generally get what they're saying. And then I send it to them, and I say, here's the outline that I built. Tell me what you're okay with. Is there anything that needs to be gone? Is there anything you want to add? So they say, oh, take this out, or, oh, put this in. And then once that's locked into place, that person knows I will not go outside of that outline when we do the show. Because, again, they are sharing something very, very difficult, and I want them to know exactly what they're going to talk about and exactly what they're not going to talk about and feel safe about that. Because the thing that amazes me about the show is, among many things, is the generosity of the guests and their vulnerability to tell these very important stories.
Yeah. It's all about getting out of that victim mentality.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, Kevin, because I know that is something that so often when we are interviewed about our story, our experience, our vulnerability, there are some questions that can cause us great harm.
Yes.
And too often, whether it is a podcast interviewer, a print media interviewer, etc., that always isn't taken into account. And we don't want to do harm to our guest.
Right. Exactly.
Or to ourselves.
Yeah, and exactly. And the other thing is that when people know what they're going to talk about and they are empowered to share their story, one of the goals I have on the show is I do the introduction. I like to make fun of advertising, so I do a fake sponsor with every episode. And then I bring the person on, and what I try to do is shut the hell up and let them talk. Now, I'll interject with questions. I do use the outline to make sure that we're kind of staying on track. But it's really about getting their story out there, because I do believe 100% that we are all just a collection of stories. That's what we are. And if we can share more stories with each other, we're all going to feel a little less alone, and we're all going to understand each other a little bit more. And then we might, again, like I said, build that big empathy muscle.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, and even talking to Adam, just hearing his story, I mean, we had a brief call. I was inspired by that, and you know, we're going to work on scheduling him coming on as well to tell his story, right? And Adam is a great example of somebody who has had these challenges and has now turned it into what we're on right now, the mental health board.
Yeah.
Years. What you said you started in 2019, Adam?
2019, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Well, and even the story of how we all met and how we continued to work together. There's so much beauty in that, right? And I think once we start aligning with people who are supportive and compassionate, the more that we can heal into a better possible version of ourselves, aiming for the best possible version of ourselves within the reality of what is that best, right? Constantly changing and evolving. Yeah.
And how did the four of you guys meet or start to work together?
I can actually tell you that because all these three actually used to be guests. And and obviously me and Nick have met in person. August it was. So he came up and we basically just clicked, didn't we, from get-go? And we've just
I know with me it was Liz that connected us.
Yes.
He with Liz, Elizabeth, and Elizabeth and I were co-authors in the anthology series that began my career in writing. I was in Sacred Hearts Rising anthology series. And she suggested me to you, I believe, after I'd been on her podcast a couple times. And then I'm like, well, this was actually pretty good. And then Christopher Rausch was on that podcast as well. And Christopher is on my exponential joy team because he's my kick-ass accountability coach. And Lord Thunder and Jesus, he and I are working well together. So, yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've been on Nick's podcast. He's been on this. And, we've had a blast.
I mean, it started in 2019. Adam. I mean, that's a lot of shows, a lot of guests, and all guests are great and contribute time. But I guess it just shows that of all the hundreds of guests you've had, that you click with certain people and certain people connect with and have that sort of connection with, isn't it? Which is what's happened.
There's been over 750 shows now.
So that's wow.
Touching that. We've been watching several.
That's amazing.
Good. It's a great accomplishment, Adam.
Yes,
keep shining bright.
Be proud of that.
We'll get to 1,000. Don't worry, we will.
Oh, good. Of course you will. You're 3/4 of the way there.
Of course. It's just Ashley needs to pick up on this banter, but I don't know if she can. But yeah.
Poor Ashley.
I'm telling you, Kevin, he is a poker. Like, he is a button pusher. No one ever.
I have to say, Ashley, and I'm sorry, and I wouldn't do this to you right now, but I'm the same way. If I get to know people, I'll do the same thing.
2 pokers.
And hope that they do the same thing.
Come on, Nick!
I'm not a poker.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
And then there's Nick and Nancy on the other end going, well, Adam, if you look at things through this light,
here we go.
I'm more diplomatic.
Sparkles. And sometimes it's like, oh, great. Here she comes again, right?
It's like the coffee mug you posted about yesterday, Nancy, the Minion one. I took a screenshot of it and I showed it to my husband and he's like, okay.
Really get it.
Yeah, I tend to put posts up about how I sparkles and rainbows and ride unicorns and stuff. So and my life wasn't always like that. Like, I mean, that's the interesting part of it. I mean, I was much more well known for riding a broom and being a witch, but not that witch, the one that rhymes more with the bee one. So, and I was a card-carrying member of that pride, right? Like, I was proud that I didn't put up with anybody's BS, because I had to go from being emancipated to the other side, right? So from the battered woman syndrome to the exponential joy experience, there was a little bit of a gap in between those two, right?
Well, I want to pick up on that because I'm just going to say it, Nancy. You're going to say bitch. I know. But either way, and I hope Kerry's still in the comments as well. Please put if you are, Kerry. Because time ago, she actually got called a bitch by someone we don't talk to anymore. And she took that as a compliment. Because theoretically, that person called her beautiful.
Because it's kind of the opposite of the way...
No, how it goes is obviously... they say that a bitch is a female dog or something like that. Dogs are related to the wolves. Wolves howl at the moon. Moon's a sign of nature. Nature's beautiful.
Ah,
I like it.
okay.
Own it, yeah.
Great
depends
analogy
Turn
there.
something positive. You can turn something.
Own
Massive.
it. Yeah.
You're taking the power, aren't you? Yeah, something you've
Yes.
taken. It's,
Yeah.
something good.
Where are all of you located?
Middle of nowhere.
Canada. Canada's in the house. Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to come save me from my country?
Nope. Bloods and Crips down there, huh?
Where are you, Kevin? Did you say, mommy?
I'm in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
You're not far from me. I'm in Green Bay.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Cheeseheads unite.
Nice.
There you go.
My dad lives in Racine. I know that's far from Green Bay, but same state.
It is. It's
Yeah.
actually not. I mean, it's like Racine is probably 2.5, 3 hours from me.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Ashley, you've shown me your outdoors. You live on a farm.
I
You're
live
a farm
in the middle
girl.
of nowhere, yes, but I'm in Green Bay, so it's
You live on a farm. You're a
no.
farm
He
girl.
lives in Chicago. He's the Chicago Bears. Like the Bears still suck. I'm just.
Oh,
Hey.
And
hey.
over here in Canada, I'm actually a black and yellow fan because Steelers will one day reign.
We have a friend that's a Steelers fan, and his wife is a Packer fan.
Here's my thing on that. I'm a baseball guy. So
The Cubs. The Cubs.
I'm obsessed with the Cubs. Have been my whole life. Well, since I was like 2. I don't really care about football, but I will say this, Ashley. I really don't care for the Packers.
Yeah.
But
I
I
don't
do.
watch it anyway.
What'd you say?
I said I don't watch them either.
Oh, okay. I take comfort when this is kind of. I don't really care about the Bears, so when they mess up, which they always do, I take comfort in that because I get so emotionally hurt by the Cubs every time they mess up. So when the Bears mess up, I just laugh at them, point and laugh.
Oh yeah.
Well, and circling back to the team environment and mental health, what matters is how we play on the team. Right? How are you going to play on the team? Are you going to be in the offense? Are you going to be in the defense? Maybe you can play safety.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many different ways to come at it. And I have to tell you, Nancy, I love is Exponential Joy, is Choose Joy. Is that a book you wrote?
Yep.
Awesome.
I'll connect you all.
That's a cool cover.
Thanks.
I'll connect
Thanks.
you all.
I would love that.
I will
love
I'll
that.
connect
And
you all.
Nick is Confident Club. Is that a podcast?
It's an actual sort of run. Just started running events and workshops to help people with their confidence and related social skills. So yeah, it's
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, any final words?
What are we talking about next week?
Nothing.
Yes.
We're not on. Nothing.
I'm going to go. I'm so sorry. But
Okay.
Kevin, I'm sorry it's been short, but good to.
Well, it's my fault.
to
I'm so
briefly.
sorry that I was late. Nick,
It's
I hope
okay.
we can
You'll be
talk.
back. You'll be back.
We're back.
I hope
See
so.
you again, Kevin. See you again.
I hope so.
And yes, Ashley, Nancy, Adam, good to see you as always. Yes, sorry, I'm going to go. I've got another call, but great speeches soon, guys, and great show as always.
Yeah. All right, Nick.
Cheers.
Yes. Yeah. There's nothing next week. Nothing.
And the
Yeah.
week after?
Yeah. Week
So
after.
when is our next
Richard's back.
episode?
Richard's back, and it's same time in 2 weeks, and we're talking about the crime and punishment of mental health.
Ooh.
I think Kevin wants to come back too.
Do you want to?
I would love to come back and this time.
November 22nd, correct?
November the 22nd.
Yeah, okay. I can be there.
Right, okay, I'll put you in now. Yeah,
And I'll be
yeah,
there on
I'll put
time,
you
I
in.
promise.
1 p.m. 1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Central.
Yes.
1 p.m. Not 2, 1.
Kevin
One.
and I are in the same time zone.
That's Central Time Zone. I call it God's time zone.
Yes.
It's God's favorite time zone. I don't know if you knew that, Adam.
No,
but it is.
I've got my views on time, but
That's fair.
Let's not go
Yeah,
there.
I'm pissed at it, but nothing I can do about it. It just keeps marching on.
Yeah. Right. So anyway, we've got 829 subscribers on YouTube. I'm aiming for us all to get to at least 1,000 by the end of the year.
Brilliant.
Do you think it's possible?
Yes.
Absolutely. And Adam, have you sent me your social media stuff?
I will.
Yeah,
No,
please do.
I will though. I will.
Yeah.
I will. Yes.
You'll have
Right,
mine.
I'll connect you all.
Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Right.
I
I'll
filled
see you
up
all
a form.
in 2
It
weeks.
was very nice to meet all of you. Thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate it. And look forward to talking soon.
Yeah. Okie dokie.
All right. Bye.
Bye.